Imagine a life where no insult, no criticism, no rude word can disturb your peace. A life where your calm cannot be stolen, and your mind remains unshakable no matter what the world throws at you. Today, I'll show you how Stoicism can make that life your reality. Imagine walking through life completely unshaken, no matter what others say or do. Imagine being calm when chaos surrounds you, unaffected by insults, criticism, or provocation. This is not a dream, this is the essence of Stoicism, the art of controlling your mind so that nothing external can disturb your inner peace. The first principle is simple, yet powerful. You cannot control what others do, only how you respond. Every time someone tries to anger you, remember, their actions are theirs alone. You choose your reaction. Anger is a choice, and choosing it only enslaves you to someone else's behavior. The moment you realize this, you reclaim your freedom. Next, embrace the idea that everything external is indifferent. Wealth, status, praise, insult, these are not inherently good or bad. What truly matters is virtue, character, and reason. By separating what is within your control from what is not, you remove the power of others to bother you. The insult of a stranger cannot touch you unless you allow it to. Another key is self-awareness and reflection. Before reacting, pause. Ask yourself, will this matter in a week? In a year? Does it affect my values? Most provocations vanish when viewed through this lens. A careless comment, a moment of rudeness, even betrayal. These are tests of your inner strength, not attacks you must fight. Practice emotional detachment, not coldness. Detachment is not ignoring life, it is seeing events clearly, without being swept into reactive chaos. When anger arises, observe it as a passing storm. Feel it, acknowledge it, but do not act on it. Respond with reason, not impulse. Stoicism teaches preparation and anticipation. Every day remind yourself that challenges and difficult people will appear. Picture them in your mind. Rehearse your calm response. By anticipating what may come, you train yourself to face it without disturbance. Gratitude is another shield. Focus on what you have, not what others take or deny. When your mind is full of appreciation for life's simple blessings, trivial insults and frustrations lose their edge. The Stoic sees obstacles as opportunities to exercise virtue, patience, courage, self-control. Remember, anger harms the one who feels it more than the one it is directed at. By letting go of anger, by refusing to be bothered, you protect your peace. You preserve energy for what truly matters: personal growth, clarity of thought, and meaningful action. Finally, embrace the power of reason. Every provocation is a puzzle for your mind to solve, not a weapon to defend against. Question your assumptions. Why does this upset me? Whose standards am I obeying? By questioning, you dissolve the illusion that others have power over you. Living without anger is not a quick fix. It is a lifelong practice. But with persistence, you will reach a state where no words, no actions, no circumstances can disturb your equilibrium. You will be calm in storms, steady in chaos, free in a world that constantly tries to steal your peace. This is the Stoic path. To live unshaken, untouchable by the noise of the world, anchored in reason, virtue, and inner freedom. No one can bother you without your permission. No one can take your peace unless you give it away. Guard it fiercely. And when you do, life becomes lighter, clearer, and infinitely more serene. You will realize that the key to not being angry or bothered lies not in changing others, but in mastering yourself. Anger is often described as a reaction to the world around us, but in truth, it is not the world that angers us, it is our judgment about it. Every day, people say things or act in ways that test our patience. A careless comment, an unjust accusation, a rude gesture, all of these can trigger an immediate surge of irritation. Yet the moment we allow ourselves to feel angry, we surrender our freedom to someone else's words or actions. We hand over control of our peace, our clarity, and our reason to external forces. Stoicism teaches us a profoundly liberating truth: no one can make us angry without our consent. The power to remain calm, to preserve our composure, lies entirely within us. When someone provokes us, the first step is awareness. Notice the sensation of anger rising, the tightness in the chest, the quickening of the heartbeat, the urge to respond. These are natural, instinctive reactions, but they do not require action. Recognizing them is crucial because awareness creates choice. In that brief pause between stimulus and reaction, you hold the reins of your mind. You can choose to respond with reason or with impulsive fury. Most people act without pausing, letting the emotional wave sweep them into chaos. The Stoic, however, steps back, observes the emotion, and understands that it is not the event itself, but their own interpretation of it, that creates the disturbance. It is helpful to remember that every person acts according to their understanding, knowledge, and desires. When someone insults you or behaves selfishly, it is a reflection of their character, not yours. Their actions reveal nothing about your worth or your control over your life. By internalizing this principle, you remove the illusion that others hold power over your emotions. Anger, therefore, becomes a voluntary act, one that you can refuse to perform. The more you practice this refusal, the more natural it becomes. In time, you develop a resilience where provocations no longer rattle your mind, and your energy is preserved for what truly matters. Reframing situations is a powerful tool in this process. Instead of viewing criticism as a personal attack, consider it an opportunity for reflection. Is there truth hidden in the words? Is there a lesson to learn? If not, then why allow a fleeting remark to dictate your mood or disrupt your peace? The Stoic mind treats such moments as neutral events, neither good nor bad in themselves, and responds only in ways aligned with virtue and reason. By maintaining this perspective, you shift from reaction to mastery. You become the observer, not the victim of circumstance. Practicing self-discipline strengthens this ability. The mind, like a muscle, grows stronger with exercise. Begin with small provocations, an irritating comment, a minor inconvenience, and consciously choose calmness. Gradually, as your capacity for restraint increases, you can face more significant challenges without succumbing to anger. The act of choosing composure is itself empowering. Each time you resist the impulse to be angry, you reinforce your inner freedom and demonstrate to yourself that no external force can command your spirit. Ultimately, controlling your response is not about suppressing emotions, but understanding their origin and redirecting your energy. Anger, when unchecked, clouds judgment and leads to regret, but a measured, thoughtful response preserves dignity and clarity. It allows you to navigate life with steady determination, unaffected by the whims of others. By embracing this principle, You reclaim control of your mind, safeguard your peace, and live according to your own values rather than the unpredictable behaviors of the world around you. In essence, the path to never being angry begins with this simple truth: your reactions are yours alone to govern. Life is full of events, situations, and people's actions over which we have no control. A colleague's criticism, a friend's betrayal, a stranger's insult. These things happen outside of our influence, yet so often they disturb our peace. Stoicism teaches a radical idea. The only things that truly matter are those within our control: our thoughts, our judgments, our choices, and our actions. Everything else, everything external, is indifferent. Understanding this distinction is the key to living without anger or frustration, to remaining unbothered even in the face of provocation. When we begin to see the world through this lens, life's pressures start to lose their power. A rude remark becomes nothing more than words, a failure becomes a lesson, a loss of status becomes a temporary circumstance. Nothing external can harm the core of our being unless we give it permission. This does not mean we ignore reality or stop caring. It means we allocate our energy wisely. The effort spent worrying about what we cannot change is wasted, while the effort spent on what we can control, the cultivation of virtue, reason, and self-discipline, builds strength, resilience, and freedom. Every day presents countless moments where this principle can be applied. Traffic delays, workplace frustrations, disagreements with loved ones, and unexpected setbacks are all reminders of what is beyond our control. When these moments arise, pause and ask yourself, is this within my control? If not, why allow it to disturb my mind? The simple act of separating what is controllable from what is not transforms your experience. Instead of reacting with irritation or fear, you respond with calm acceptance, knowing that your energy is better spent on your own thoughts and actions than on attempting to change what others decide or what chance brings. This separation requires constant practice and mindfulness. It is easy to forget in the heat of the moment and become swept up in anger, resentment, or anxiety. But by cultivating awareness, by continuously reminding yourself that your power lies only in your response, you gradually build an inner fortress. External chaos may swirl around you, but your mind remains steady, anchored in reason and clarity. This is not avoidance or passivity, it is mastery. By focusing only on what you can control, you become effective and deliberate, rather than reactive and powerless. The wisdom of separating control also extends to how we view other people. Their opinions, actions, and judgments are theirs alone. They may attempt to influence you, provoke you, or dictate how you feel, but in reality, their control is limited to their own choices. You remain free to respond as you see fit. This perspective removes the illusion that happiness or peace depends on external validation. Your serenity is no longer tied to the moods, whims, or actions of others. It resides entirely within you. Furthermore, separating what is within your control from what is not fosters gratitude and perspective. By focusing on your own growth, your own virtue, and your own choices, you begin to see obstacles as opportunities. Misfortune becomes a test of resilience, criticism becomes an invitation to reflection, and the unpredictability of life becomes a stage on which to practice patience, courage, and wisdom. The Stoic does not complain about what is outside of control. They accept it calmly and act within their sphere of influence. Ultimately, this mindset transforms the experience of life. Stress diminishes, irritation fades, and freedom expands. By understanding the distinction between what can and cannot be controlled, you reclaim your power, preserve your peace, and live according to reason. No one and nothing can disturb your tranquility unless you allow it. In a world where so much is uncertain, the ability to focus only on your own thoughts and actions is not just practical, it is liberation. It is the foundation upon which a calm, unshakable, and purposeful life is built. Life constantly tests our patience. Every day, we encounter situations that provoke immediate emotional responses: a rude comment, a sudden inconvenience, a misunderstanding with a friend or colleague. In these moments, it is easy to react impulsively, allowing anger, frustration, or irritation to take control. Stoicism teaches a simple but profound principle. Before responding to any event, pause and reflect. This brief moment of awareness is the difference between being controlled by circumstances and controlling your own mind. The pause is not merely a delay, it is an opportunity to examine the situation clearly, without the distortion of emotion. When anger arises, the mind narrows and reason becomes clouded. Thoughts rush, impulses demand action, and we often act in ways that we later regret. By stepping back and observing the emotion, by creating even a small space between stimulus and response, we regain the ability to choose. In that space lies freedom, the freedom to act according to reason, not impulse. Reflection allows us to ask important questions. Will this matter in a day, a week, a year? Does this affect what I truly value? Does responding in anger align with the kind of person I wish to be? Most of the provocations we face are fleeting and insignificant. They appear large only because we give them power in the moment. Through reflection, we can see them for what they truly are, passing disturbances that need not dictate our behavior. This practice also teaches humility and perspective. Often, when someone offends us, it is not intentional. It may reflect their own struggles, ignorance, or misunderstanding. Viewing others' actions through this lens reduces the personal weight of their behavior. Reflection shifts the focus from blame to understanding. We recognize that external events are not inherently harmful, they only become harmful when we interpret them as such. Pausing also opens the door to thoughtful action. Once the initial surge of emotion subsides, we can respond deliberately, choosing words and deeds that reflect reason and virtue. Stoicism emphasizes that our character is revealed not in the comfort of calm situations, but in how we respond to challenges. By practicing reflection, we strengthen patience, self-control, and emotional resilience. Each decision to pause and respond thoughtfully reinforces the habit of measured action. This approach can be applied to all aspects of daily life. In traffic, when someone cuts you off, instead of honking or yelling, pause, breathe, and remember that their actions are beyond your control. At work, when criticism comes your way, pause, reflect, and determine whether there is a lesson to be learned or if the remark is not worth your attention. In personal relationships, when conflict arises, pausing allows you to respond with empathy and understanding rather than defensiveness or anger. Over time, this practice creates a profound transformation in the mind. We no longer react automatically to external events, but instead engage with the world from a place of reason. We learn to value inner peace over temporary satisfaction from retaliation. The habit of pausing and reflecting reduces unnecessary suffering. and allows us to act consistently with our principles, rather than being swept away by emotion. Ultimately, the ability to pause and reflect before reacting is a cornerstone of mastery over oneself. It empowers us to live deliberately, responding to challenges with clarity and composure rather than chaos and regret. In a world filled with provocation, the simple act of slowing down and considering our response is revolutionary. It frees us from the tyranny of impulse, strengthens our character, and preserves our peace. By embracing this practice, we cultivate a calm mind, steady judgment, and the unshakable serenity that defines a Stoic life. Emotional detachment is often misunderstood. It is not about shutting down, ignoring life, or becoming cold and indifferent to the world. True emotional detachment, as taught by Stoicism, is about seeing events, people, and circumstances clearly without allowing them to control your mind or dictate your behavior. It is the ability to experience life fully while maintaining a steady, calm center that no external force can disturb. When practiced consistently, emotional detachment becomes a shield against anger, frustration, and unnecessary suffering. The first step toward detachment is awareness. Emotions are natural and unavoidable. They arise in response to the world around us. Anger, fear, jealousy, pride, and sadness all appear, but these emotions are signals, not commands. By observing them without judgment, you recognize that they are temporary and often triggered by things beyond your control. In that moment of observation, you create a gap between feeling and action. You acknowledge the emotion without surrendering to it. The mind becomes the observer, and the emotion becomes a passing cloud rather than a storm that dictates your behavior. Detachment also requires a shift in perspective. Life is unpredictable, and people will act in ways that challenge us. A colleague may criticize unfairly, a friend may betray trust, or a stranger may provoke with rudeness. Emotional detachment does not mean ignoring these events. It means seeing them for what they are: external occurrences that do not define your inner state. When you treat events as neutral rather than inherently good or bad, their power to disturb you diminishes. The insult that once felt sharp now becomes a minor ripple in the steady flow of your mind. Another aspect of detachment is understanding impermanence. Everything in life is fleeting: success, failure, pleasure, pain, relationships, and reputation. By internalizing this truth, we prevent ourselves from becoming overly attached to outcomes or reliant on others for our emotional stability. When we expect change and accept impermanence, life's highs do not inflate pride, and life's lows do not crush the spirit. Emotional detachment arises naturally when we no longer tie our inner peace to the external world. Detachment also strengthens decision-making. When emotions run unchecked, they cloud judgment, prompt rash decisions, and lead to regret. A detached mind, however, evaluates situations objectively. It sees reality as it is, not as it is colored by anger, fear, or desire. This clarity allows for measured responses aligned with reason and virtue. In practice, detachment transforms daily life. Traffic becomes an opportunity for patience, criticism becomes a chance for reflection, and conflict becomes a test of composure. Each challenge is faced with a calm mind rather than a reactive heart. It is important to note that detachment does not mean passivity or avoidance. A Stoic remains engaged in life, performs duties with dedication, and experiences emotions fully. Detachment is about freedom, the freedom to respond thoughtfully, not react impulsively. It is about keeping the mind unshaken amidst chaos, preserving energy for what truly matters, and choosing virtue over transient emotional satisfaction. Finally, emotional detachment nurtures resilience. Life will always present obstacles, setbacks, and provocations. Those who cling tightly to desires, expectations, or emotional reactions will find themselves repeatedly frustrated. The detached mind, however, remains stable. It understands that external events cannot touch the inner self unless permission is given. This stability is not only comforting but empowering. It allows you to move through life with purpose, dignity, and serenity, no matter the challenges encountered. In essence, emotional detachment is the art of living fully without being controlled by what is fleeting. It is a conscious practice of observing emotions, perceiving events objectively, and maintaining a steady inner state. By embracing detachment, you cultivate freedom from anger, fear, and distraction. You preserve peace in the midst of life's storms, respond with wisdom instead of impulse, and align your actions with reason rather than emotion. In this way, emotional detachment becomes not a withdrawal from life but a mastery of it, the foundation of true Stoic resilience. Life is unpredictable, and difficulties are inevitable. Challenges arise in every form: setbacks at work, misunderstandings in relationships, financial troubles, health issues, or the unexpected actions of others. Most people approach these obstacles with surprise, frustration, or fear, as if the world is conspiring against them. Stoicism teaches a different approach: anticipate challenges before they come, and cultivate gratitude for what already exists. By preparing your mind in advance and appreciating your present circumstances, you create a buffer against anger, anxiety, and disappointment, allowing your peace to remain intact even when life tests you. Anticipation begins with mindfulness and imagination. Each day, reflect on the fact that difficulties will arise. Consider the kinds of challenges you might face and how you might respond calmly and rationally. This is not pessimism but preparation. By rehearsing in your mind, you reduce the shock when adversity actually occurs. You train your responses to be measured rather than reactive, and you reinforce the habit of self-control. Just as an athlete visualizes each move before stepping onto the field, the Stoic visualizes trials and prepares to face them with patience and wisdom. Anticipation also shifts your mindset from helplessness to empowerment. When you accept that challenges are natural and inevitable, you stop being a victim of circumstance. Instead of being surprised, you are ready. Instead of being controlled by external events, you approach them with clarity. This foresight allows you to maintain composure and act according to reason, rather than being swept away by emotion. Every difficulty becomes a test of virtue, an opportunity to practice courage, patience, resilience, and discernment. Gratitude complements anticipation and is equally vital to inner peace. The human mind tends to focus on what is lacking rather than what is present. We take health, relationships, shelter, and simple daily comforts for granted, while magnifying the small inconveniences or offenses that disrupt our mood. Stoicism encourages constant reflection on the gifts already present in life. By appreciating what you have, your health, your mind, your family, your freedom, you cultivate contentment and reduce the power of external disturbances to upset you. Gratitude shifts focus from scarcity to abundance, from complaint to recognition of life's inherent value. Together, anticipation and gratitude create resilience. When you face a setback, you are neither shocked nor overwhelmed because you have foreseen it and prepared yourself. At the same time, you remain mindful of the blessings that persist despite difficulty, which prevents despair and bitterness. Challenges are no longer threats to happiness, but opportunities to exercise virtue, and gratitude allows you to maintain perspective, seeing even adversity as a natural part of life's unfolding. This mindset also enhances your interactions with others. When people behave poorly, act unjustly, or fail to meet your expectations, you are less likely to take offense because you anticipated the possibility of imperfection. You respond with understanding and patience, rather than anger or resentment. Similarly, gratitude reduces envy, jealousy, and dissatisfaction, helping you to remain focused on your own growth and values rather than comparing yourself to others. Ultimately, anticipating challenges and cultivating gratitude are practices that anchor the mind in reason, stability, and serenity. They prepare you to meet life head-on, without being shaken by the unpredictability of events or the actions of others. Through these practices, anger loses its grip, irritation fades, and your sense of control grows stronger. Life becomes not a series of frustrations, but a canvas on which to exercise patience, courage, and virtue, appreciating what is already yours while facing what is inevitable with calm determination. By combining foresight and appreciation, you live proactively rather than reactively. You cultivate an inner fortress that shields your peace from external turbulence. You transform obstacles into lessons, difficulties into opportunities, and daily life into a practice of virtue. This is the Stoic path, to be unbothered by what comes, grateful for what remains, and steadfast in your purpose no matter what unfolds. Reason is the defining feature of the human mind. Unlike instinct or impulse, which reacts without thought, reason allows us to pause, reflect, and choose our actions deliberately. In daily life, we are constantly faced with situations that provoke emotional responses. Anger, fear, envy, pride, these arise spontaneously, often pushing us toward actions that later bring regret. Stoicism teaches that to live unbothered, one must place reason above impulse. By letting reason guide decisions rather than reacting instinctively to provocation, we preserve our peace, maintain our virtue, and act in alignment with our true values. Impulse thrives on immediate emotion. When insulted, criticized, or challenged, the mind often reacts before thought can intervene. Words are spoken, actions are taken, and often we later recognize that the reaction was disproportionate or unnecessary. Reason interrupts this chain. By examining the situation with clarity, by asking fundamental questions, why does this upset me? Is this within my control? Will my reaction reflect the kind of person I wish to be? We regain authority over our responses. Reason allows us to transform a potentially destructive emotional reaction into a thoughtful, measured action. The practice of reason over impulse requires vigilance. It is not enough to know intellectually that one should act wisely. One must train the mind to recognize emotional surges as they arise and respond consciously. Each provocation is an opportunity to exercise this skill. A colleague's unfair critique can become a lesson in humility and self-improvement. A stranger's rudeness can become an exercise in patience and restraint. A personal disappointment can become a test of resilience and focus. In all cases, the impulsive mind demands immediate reaction, but the rational mind steps back, evaluates and chooses action that aligns with long-term well-being and virtue. Reason also challenges assumptions. Often, our anger or irritation is rooted in beliefs about how others should behave or how life ought to unfold. By questioning these assumptions, by asking why we feel disturbed, we uncover the source of our suffering. Perhaps the insult is not personal, perhaps the delay is unavoidable, perhaps the criticism contains no truth at all. By applying reason, we dismantle the illusions that give others power over our emotions. We see the world as it is, not as we wish it to be, and we respond in ways that protect our inner equilibrium. This approach transforms not only our internal state, but our external interactions. When reason governs, we communicate more effectively, make better decisions, and avoid conflicts that arise from emotional reactivity. Our relationships improve, our work benefits, and our own sense of dignity remains intact. Impulse leads to regret, reason leads to mastery. Each time we choose thoughtful response over immediate reaction, we strengthen the habit of living intentionally rather than being swept along by circumstance. Reason over impulse is a lifelong discipline. It requires daily practice, reflection, and patience. There will be moments when emotion threatens to override thought, when instinct urges a reaction before reason can act. In these moments, recall that the mind can be trained. Through meditation, reflection, and deliberate practice, one gradually becomes adept at pausing, considering, and acting wisely. Emotional storms no longer control behavior, they are observed, acknowledged, and allowed to pass without disrupting the mind's clarity. Ultimately, placing reason above impulse is the cornerstone of emotional freedom. It frees us from the tyranny of anger, fear, and irritation. It allows us to live in accordance with virtue, to preserve our inner peace, and to act with integrity regardless of external provocation. In a world where circumstances are unpredictable and people often behave thoughtlessly, reason provides stability. By exercising reason consistently, one attains a mind unshaken by insult, disappointment, or frustration, achieving the Stoic ideal of calm, rational, and purposeful living.